And then to lighten it up for a second before I turn it over to the musicians, the memoir talks about my family's experience seeing my mom through her 5-year battle with cancer, which she ultimately lost in 2002. So the antagonist of the story is cancer. The protagonist is probably my mom, and the cast of characters are myself, my father, and my sister. And the tension of the relationships obviously compromise a pretty large part. And I use the memoir to kind of interrogate what made me what I am, which is equal parts mother and father, which is probably the case for all of us. So this is a quick scene talking about how my father did and didn't shape me. He had never found himself or allowed himself to imagine his father revealing a lack of control. He'd never known his father to cry, even at the funerals of his own parents. Over time, the son had taken for granted that his father was at once inscrutable and incontrovertible, an entity that precluded explanation. In other words, even as he embraced so many of the assumptions and illusions most adults successfully grapple with at some point, he had scarcely ceased to view his pops from a child's perspective. His father, he'd figured out many years before, was a piece of work, even for an Irish Catholic at his time and place, post-Depression Boston. Over time, it had become obvious that the only perceptible distress he'd ever betrayed was the possibility of actually revealing an unguarded emotion, any sign of weakness. "You've never seen your father cry?" a girlfriend had asked a few years before. "No, I never have," he'd said, deciding to tell the truth. She hadn't believed him. "I'm serious," he insisted. "But how is that possible?" "Well, he's old school." "That's just weird." "Well, we're not an unweird family. The rest of you seem pretty normal." "You don't know the half of it," he said, deciding to tell half the truth. "So, if your father doesn't cry, what does he do?" I mean, instead of crying, does he show no emotion at all?" "He's Irish." "Well, what does that mean?" "He can do anger and silence. He even allows himself to be amused sometimes." "But what about, like, when he's upset?" "He's Irish." "Well, what does that mean?" "He keeps it locked up in there." "In there?" "In the vault." "The vault?" "You know, inside." "That's just weird." "I don't disagree." "You cry." "Of course I do. I'm my mother's son." "So your mom cries." "She's Italian." "You're a disaster. You cry during movies, not even sad movies." "You don't know the half of it." He did cry during movies and conversations. He often cried alone, especially when he listened to music, not even sad music. "So," you might ask him, "are you really suggesting someone should want to listen to music that's capable of making them cry?" "Yes," he'd reply. "But," you might ask, "why would someone want to do such a thing?" "It's simple," he'd say, "so you know you're alive."